lights, makeup, music, applause. It's all part of the excitement of a Broadway musical. Now imagine not being able to hear any of it. For millions of deaf and hearing-impaired audiences, the experience of enjoying a theatrical performance is clearly a challenge. What if American Sign Language interpreters were on the stage with the actors, sharing the role?
We are all Britons, and I am your king.
I didn't know we had a king.
The Ritz Theater in Haddon Township, New Jersey, with a grant from PNC Bank, is doing just that. It's called shadow interpreting.
Hey, I'm not quite dead, sir.
Oh, I see.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PNC Arts Alive and Ritz Theater's presentation of Me and My Shadow. Okay, ready? God, are you ready? Okay. The PNC Arts Alive program is a $5 million 5-year initiative targeted towards organizations that are going above and beyond making the arts accessible to a great many people. In our case, we've chosen to increase our accessibility to the deaf and hard of hearing community with American Sign Language shadow interpreted performances of Spamalot.
You may even have the finest overview. But the audiences won't care, sir, as long as you don't get...
The Ritz Theater Company's request and proposal for shadowed performances for the hearing impaired just jumped off the page as something that was just so spectacular and so in tune with our goal, which is all about accessibility across the entire community.
Listen, Alice.
This DVD can be a tool to help other theater companies understand what shadowed performances are all about and how they can work those shadowed performances into their productions.
No, I want you to stay in the room.
Shadow interpreting is not a new concept. However, it is new in the East. I think we are among the leaders in doing this, and we've been doing it for almost 10 years.
The Finland dawn. I can't see you at all.
Yeah,
I have a wonderful grown stepson who happens to be hearing impaired, Michael Canfield. And Michael actually has experience both in the hearing community as well as in the hearing impaired community. And he actually coaches interpreters for both shadowed performances and sign performances. And I'm very proud to say that Michael Canfield will be part of this production.
We act the conversation. We like signing. We act whatever that person's saying.
The great advantage of putting the interpreter on the stage instead of off to the side of the stage allows the audience member that relies on American Sign Language to enjoy the play. It allows them the opportunity in one glance to look both at the actor who's giving the expression and the body and perhaps the costume. It gives the actor and his voice, the interpreter, in one, one glance, one look, rather than going back and forth.
I mean, I just thought we'd be off to the side, signing it.
Okay.
And you'd be with them, and they'll see what they see. I mean, same as people hear what they hear.
Right. Now, a lot of people are singing different things there, though.
First thing we do, once a script is decided and it's cast, as we start rehearsing the play on the stage with the speaking actors, our interpreters start interpreting.
Does anybody know more signs for mean, hot-tempered, mean?
Cruel.
Cruel?
There are things in a play that have no meaning, no consequence to someone that can't hear. So a lot of the words, a lot of expressions that we use that incorporate sound, they have to translate so that it is understood by the deaf community. Plus, they have to find words or symbols or spelling, American Sign Language words to translate our script.
But will the deaf people know where to look? It's that fast.
They're watching us in a clump, they'll see it.
Then they practice, and they practice.
The process for this whole endeavor is long and hard. We have to take the script and work with the script and work with each other, plan who's going to play what roles, how we're going to interact with each other on certain lines to make sure that our language between the interpreters matches like the language in the script matches.
I've always been told this.
Really? I've never, okay.
You're very good.
3 on 1, I'll go the other way.
Rachel is Lady of the Lake. Karen is playing Robin. Galahad and Dennis. Then we have a rehearsal. All along, they've worked with me. We thought about where they're going to stand, where they're going to be in the certain scenes, when the light has to be, if it's a spotlight, for example, the spotlight has to be broadened to include the words. At the end, you can do it. Instead of waving your hands up in the air, you can do Runaway.
We might be coming to the actors at certain points to ask them for interpretation issues.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
Just make sure don't bite your fingers.
But then we need to start coming early in the rehearsal process to watch the actors, because the way they deliver the line is important. We also have to learn how they're moving, not just where they are on stage, but how they move, because we try to make our body language match their body language as much as possible, because that's another cue to our deaf audience members that we are interpreting for that particular actor.
And no more singing.
There will definitely be a challenge incorporating 4 additional people into our cast. I think for the large production numbers, we're going to see them down left or down right or even down center, perhaps sitting on the stage or up above.
Well, I wasn't out first.
That was our note.
Enough.
I think you're right there.
Right
I
here.
think you're sitting
Okay.
right up on the
Okay.
stage
Okay.
for the whole.
The challenges in this process are finding a space on the stage when you're doing a musical, because there's a lot of moving bodies and body parts, and we're not dancing while we're signing. I find that when we're doing a musical, the songs sometimes become easier because it's easier to remember them. The actors don't usually change words, but when you're doing straight dialogue, sometimes lines get turned around and actors have to catch up with each other, and that becomes a straight interpreting. It's not something you've practiced, it's something you just have to be ready for.
I think one of the exciting things is how we as actors interact with our voices. And to a certain extent, it's like you're talking to yourself as you relate to your voice. And we have some fun with that, too.
Darren! Shit. What is it when you free someone from jeopardy?
Rescues! Rescue!
The person soon becomes, you know, your character, you know, they become a part of you. They're almost like an appendage. In fact, the longer you go on working with them, you find more things you can actually do with them. And they become your partner, they become your conscience, you know, they become your decision maker at times, you know. It's a blast. You know, once you get that person you're comfortable with, you know, moving with you and doing what you're doing, and it's a lot of fun.
I think we approach the whole thing with a great sense of humor, which of course you'd have to do if you're interpreting a play like Spamalot.
That's right there. That's right.
We are planning to have our interpreter for the diva of this show be a bit of a diva herself, and they kind of play off of each other, that our actress doesn't really want her interpreter even sharing her space with her, but the interpreter's job is to interpret for her. And at one point the actress goes into a scat with kind of nonsensical syllables of sound which can't be interpreted. So she might even have an attitude about, I'm waiting for real words. She's just going on and on and on. That's not really interpreting, it's not what she's saying, but it's playing with it.
I've never seen a shadow interpret before. But I've seen many cars captured up here, and interpreters standing on the side of the stage. This is shadow. It's fantastic, and I really get more into the show.
There's a bond when you get on the stage that you're both here to tell the story, you know, to the audience. You know, hearing impaired or not hearing impaired, you're both telling the same story, telling that character's story, and that's a lot of fun to not only do it yourself but have a little help.
Fart in your general direction!
Doing this kind of program is definitely an education for the hearing audiences as well. It lets them experience the beauty of sign language, first of all, which many of them may not have ever seen. It lets them be aware that there are deaf people in the community who could benefit from this kind of service.
I can pay attention to the show. With the interpreters, it's really clear with them shadowing on the stage. I'm really enjoying it. A long time ago, there were interpreters would be separate. They'd be sitting down in front of the stage, and I couldn't really enjoy it. I have to look back and forth, but with the shadowing, it's awesome.
I am very proud of my company. We invest in the community, and we try to invest strategically in the community. And Arts Alive really came out of our fundamental belief that supporting arts and culture is an economic driver in communities. And I think the Ritz Theater Company is a perfect example of that. Driving through this wonderful town and seeing the Ritz Theater Company as a beacon, as a gem in this town, I think speaks to what our belief is at PNC, which is arts and culture can drive communities and can drive the economics of communities.
Great mind thinking on it.
We have found ourselves a wonderful home here in Haddon Township. The Ritz Theater is an 82-year-old structure, originally built as a vaudeville theater, and it is on the state and national register of historic places, which we're very proud of, and we protect it. We've seen businesses around us thrive and grow because we're here, because we bring in a great number of people. Over 68,000 people last year came to the theater throughout the year.
You're in a Broadway show!
I like the fact that Bruce, the Ritz, and PNC are kind of taking the reins and making this available to a whole new audience that I know is going to appreciate it, and I'm proud to be a part of it, especially, you know, like right at the very beginning. And I hope other theaters take that and say, this is a good idea, this is something that we can do just as well, and open up theater to a whole new, different audience.
It's very rewarding, not just from the deaf people, but from the hearing people too, who say, wow, I've never experienced that. That was really interesting or really beautiful. Because I think sign language is beautiful.
This was simply marvelous. There was no way anyone could misunderstand. It was great, very, very enjoyable.
I'd like to see more theaters offer this access. More deaf would come. It would really develop and take off.
I think one of the things that inspires me about this whole process is on those nights or those afternoons when we see the deaf community come in and enjoy theater, something that's not normally accessible to them, but they enjoy theater and they applaud for us, and a deaf audience will shake their hands above their heads when they're applauding.
It's wonderful that the deaf people can be like the hearing people. And I think that's very, very important. And also, especially, I have 2 hearing daughters. They're here watching the show. It's like a family thing, and we're part of it. You know what I mean? So, we love it.
You'll see it's all a show. Keep them laughing as you go. Just remember that the last step is on you.
We think of ourselves inviting our audiences into our home. In fact, we don't refer to them as audience, we refer to them as our guest. And if you have a guest into your home, you want to do anything and everything you can to accommodate that guest. So I think it is not just a duty, it's a personal mandate that I must make my work accessible to all that enter.